Alright, this was going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh B'Shem Hashem. That wants the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, who do all teach well. This is the book of 1 Maccabees chapter 8, verse 1. Alright, and I want to just talk about the Romans and speak on the scripture pertaining mostly to the 13th, 14th, 15th verse, around about there. But I'll start here and then I'll skip down. 1 Maccabees 8:1. Now Judas Maccabee said had heard of the Romans, that they were mighty and valiant men, such as would lovingly accept all that joined themselves unto them, and make a league of amity with them, with all that came unto them. So similar to the Babylonian idea was that people, all kinds of people will call themselves Babylonian. Remember, Babylonia was formed, it was created, no, there really doesn't exist of an idea of someone being a Babylonian. Those were nationalities and peoples that just, happen to call themselves Babylonians. But we know that it was started off by, Nimrod, but in time, it switched from being ran by Hamites to Assyrians. And then that Assyrian dynasty continued until, Nabonidus, Belshazzar and whatever. And then eventually, they got disposed by the general Darius, and then so on and so forth. And then you got history play out, and then the Persians took over, and they ruled Babylon and all that region and everything like that, the Medo Persian Empire, and in time Alexander took over, okay, and then you get the Greek stuff in there, and that set a precipice, for Alexander's successors to fight, and so on and so forth, leading us all the way into what we're reading here in Maccabees. Now, skipping down to 1 Maccabees chapter 8, verse 12. With their friends and such as relied upon them, they kept amity, and that they had conquered kings before, not insomuch as all that heard of their name were afraid of them. That's right. So that's what they were doing. They were going around conquering different nations, because that's how you got glory in the Roman Empire, was by taking over different nations and making league with them, and then Romanizing them, offering to take their soldiers, and make them your soldiers, and that's what Rome did. And as I was saying before, Rome, the idea of a Roman is the same thing with the idea of the Babylonian, is that there was no real, which we know there was a Roman, like the original Romans are Japhetic, but they assimilated, all kinds of people. Certainly had, Hittites and different other nations, Hamites, that would make leagues with them, and become a Roman. So the idea of a Roman was a very diverse term. They took everyone in. That's why it's kind of like it's a stumbling block to the world, but we can go and kind of see, like, the 5 good emperors we know are Jakes, but other people look at them and say, oh, no, those are the same people. It's like, no, there was a rulership change, a dynasty change. And I believe from Nerva, Trajan, Hadrian, all those guys, they weren't successors to each other, as in like lineage. They weren't related. They were just strong guys they saw, and he said, all right, I want that guy to be Caesar, and so on and so forth. I believe Antonius Pius also wasn't related to Marcus Aurelius. He just sat there and he chose him, and he picked him, and chose him as a successor. But I'm jumping the gun here because what we're reading about here, this is before the Caesar times, and I want to explain that. Verse 13, also that whom they would help to a kingdom, those reign, and whom again they would be displaced. Finally, that they were greatly exalted. And that was the point I was just trying to make, that the idea of a Roman, same thing as the idea of a Babylon, same thing as the idea of an American, was that all these different peoples, they came in here and they were from different nations, but they just called themselves Roman, and that became their identity. Verse 15, moreover, how they made for themselves a senate house, wherein 320 men sat in council daily, consulting a way for the people, to the end that they might be well ordered. When you look it up in history, they actually had around about 300 senators, and I got an article that proves that that's true. Verse 16, they committed their government to one man every year who ruled over all their country, and they were obedient to that one, also to be to that one, and that there was neither envy nor emulation among them. All right, now it's similar to a president. But presidents nowadays, they last a little bit longer. But this is referring to a consul. This is not referring to a Caesar, or an emperor or anything like that. This is referring to a consul. All right, and I'm going to get an article that proves that, because as I said before, the Judas Maccabees rebellion was around about 160 BC-ish, and Julius Caesar came on the scene around about 40s BC. All right, and that's where you came with him, and him crossing the Rubicon and things like that. So it's not talking about Caesar. Caesar's came a little bit later. All right, but this kind of Roman. This is still the Roman Republic era, but it still has similarities to America. Either way, you can make the similitude to a president, but it's different. This is a consul. Okay, so this is Ducksters. So, first I want to prove this, and I'm going to get another article. Throughout most of the Roman Republic, there were 300 senators. This number was increased to 600, and then 900 on Julius Caesar. So that proves that that's true, right? That there's only 300 senators. Now we're going to go to another article that actually speaks on the senators. So